All right. So thank you for watching today. My name is Heather Stubbs. I do a form of hypnosis called Aura. My personal type is called hybrid hypnosis. And hybrid hypnosis is a mixture of all the different types of hypnosis that I've learned. The main type that I have been currently practicing is Aura with a little bit of flavor of my own of these other methods thrown in there. And this is Jennifer. Jennifer, thanks for being
Hello.
with us. um, so I was hoping that maybe you could just chat with us a little bit about your experience, so that way people know, what it's like to be hypnotized. I'm
Mhm.
going to introduce yourself.
I'm Jennifer, and I'm 31, and I did the quantum hypnosis session with Heather. It was my first experience a couple weeks ago, and it was really interesting. And uh, yeah, it was a great experience, very insightful.
And so, had you ever been hypnotized before?
Um, Sort of, not exactly. No, I had done some. Sort of hypnosis thing, sort of a pre-recorded hypnosis thing that so not quite to that effect, but I had a little bit of experience, but yeah, not quite like this.
And so with the Aura method, we do a type of energy work first. Um, can you kind of maybe just describe what that was like for you on your
Yeah,
from
I
your
I fell
perspective?
asleep pretty quickly, so it was very relaxing, and I think I was actually sort of in and out of sleep or something. I just felt very kind of relaxed and floaty. That's really all I remember about that part.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then when we actually started the hypnosis, um, what was it like? How did you experience the hypnosis part? Like, did you feel it? Did you see it? How did you sense the scenes that you were seeing?
Um, Sometimes I had visuals, not super vivid. It was definitely more of a intuitive sensing and knowing and feeling. I suppose like I could feel emotions and um, yeah, sort of just kind of the way that you feel when you're in your just sitting on a chair in your body. You can tell that you're in a chair and you have a body, kind of thing. You just are sensing what's around you. So uh, yeah, just picking it up in sort of a lot of different ways, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. So sometimes you felt things, sometimes you just knew things. Um,
Yes, yeah.
yeah. Um, and I'm not sure if you want to share, but what did you have this session? What was the intent for the session?
Um, I was looking for, I had kind of a lot of a jumble of intention, I suppose, but mostly was seeking healing for some uh, trauma. I've PTSD, and I was seeking healing around that mostly, and was also just curious about the hypnosis in general, and curious about past life insights, perhaps, or kind of just open to whatever would come about. But my main purpose was the healing.
Hmm. And so, did you feel like you saw a past life or
I
experience?
did, yeah. Yeah, there was one scene of a past life, which was very uncomfortable for me to experience at the time. And because of it was a rather violent experience. Uh, so I felt uncomfortable that I was kind of acting this out, and that maybe I had done that at one time or something. And I just had a lot of hesitation because of that. I felt kind of unsettled by it.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you feel like you got some insights and clarity as to why you saw that particular past life scene?
Yeah, actually, I think that that has really been, that's what my mind has wandered back to the most out of the whole hypnosis, actually. It was, when we got to the questions at the end, you had asked, to clarify what was the lesson from that past life, and they said that I needed to learn forgiveness, and that has been really, really powerful for me. And I actually feel like I have almost fully shifted into that forgiveness, that place of forgiveness. I'm not angry at people anymore, and I kind of, yeah, there, I don't know. Has been, yeah, very effective, and it was uncomfortable for me at the time, but I'm glad that I had that. I value it a lot. So
Thank you. Gosh, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And so, what about like the healing aspect? And you maybe touch on the healing aspect, maybe first, like how it was in the session that you maybe perceived the healing to have
um,
occurred.
yeah, let's see. It's kind of hard to know where to start. There was so much going on. Yeah, can you help me
Yeah, well,
decide where to start here?
I think with you we did. There were kind of two parts. One was like a healing temple.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and there was the pool,
Hmm.
and then in the pool is where I believe the majority of the work was done. Right,
Yeah,
kind of we call it the body scan.
right. And there were kind of three main areas that we healed, I feel like, to me. And when uh, we did that, it was almost like traveling through my body as a tiny little thing and seeing it from different angles and stuff. And um, they took on the parts that needed healing, really took on sort of characters. And um, oh, there was a blockage in my heart that was the sort of sense or sort of visual that I had around it. It was like a black human like figure, and it was just sort of angry and smashing everything in sight. And we uh, transmuted it and helped to remove it and stuff. And when we gave it these other options and asked it questions, it was very clear. Like uh, when you asked it, said it, that I was ready for it to leave, it got very sad, and it felt like it had failed, and it had communicated that it was just trying to protect me. And we gave it um, a new job, like laughter and joy, and it got very excited to have a new job. And it was just really interesting to see it sort of personified in a way. And there's another part that was like black tar that was kind of on my neck, and they went in and removed it, and it was coming out in cubes, and they had to clean it. And uh, all of the different things that we healed looked very different, and um, portrayed really different characteristics, and that were very kind of true to, it felt very real and true to my experience. Like it felt like, yes, I recognize that this is a thing that I need to be cleared of or something. And so it was really interesting and
Right.
effective, I think. So
Yeah. So it's been about, what, like 3 weeks since your session?
hmm
And so how are you feeling now, kind of overall in general, like health wise and emotionally and that sort of stuff?
I feel pretty great. The best I've felt in a long time. Um, I feel, excuse me, I feel lighter and like I have some clarity about just kind of where I am in my life and where I am in my healing. And I feel like I have a better handle on how to proceed and kind of how to go about my healing moving forward too. So yeah, and I just feel like I'm handling my the stresses of my life and kind of and where I am uh, with the healing and everything too. So I'm feeling really good and much better.
Great. That's great. In your session, we called forward angels. Did you get a sense of the angels when they came through?
Yes, I did actually, and they um, for me it was almost like they were shrunken down to about this big, and they were kind of flying to the different spots that they needed to go to, and then they'd like change in size and as needed kind of, and I could kind of tell where each of them was and stuff. It was cool.
Awesome. After the session, did you experience like synchronicities or clarities or understandings or like I would say within the first 3 days after the session? How was that?
um yeah, well, first of all, the first night I definitely felt a really uh strong and direct communication with my higher self. It was very present um, that night and for a few days after. And I do feel like it still is in a, uh, it feels like it's accessible, but it's not quite as present as it was in those first few days. And um, I mean, to the point where I would think just to have the thought of like, maybe I'll watch this movie tonight, and I got like a very clear like, no, don't do that for my higher self. And I was at work thinking this once, and I kind of like chuckled to myself and was like, okay, I won't. And like the hard no feeling went away. I was like, geez. um,
Right.
and but also that evening I had a very I felt a strong push to go to bed early, and I went to bed very early, and there was definitely a lot of activity happening for the first several hours of the night. There was definitely more healing continuing. It felt almost I don't remember it clearly, really, but I remember how it felt. It felt almost the way that it felt during the session, the healing and stuff. And I remember being very aware that it was happening, and sort of when I would wake up a little bit and go back to sleep, I knew that it was happening. And I even vaguely remember having to tell them that I was tired and I needed to sleep. and, and then they let me sleep for the rest of the night. So yeah, I guess that was good.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. And I
Great.
just felt sort of tired in my body for the next few days. Just a little sort of exhausted, but I also felt really good. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. Great. Well, Let's see, your cat, Archie, also made an appearance in the session. And
Uh-huh.
can you talk about him a little bit? About your cat?
Um, yeah, he's we've always had a really strong connection, and I wanted to find out if we had a soul connection or what. And so I asked some questions about that in the session, and they had said that we had have spent other lives together, um, but that we weren't exactly. I asked if we were soulmates, and it was kind of a no, but not exactly. But I didn't fully get an explanation there. So, and then he also slept with me all night and came to bed early. And the next day, there had been a very big change in him. He had been feeling, beforehand, had been feeling sort of, he'd been kind of bummed out, I think, and sort of sluggish. And it was like he clearly felt so much better. He was more talkative, he had more energy. And it was clear that they had done some work on him too. So yeah, it was good.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, there it's so interesting. I tend to do a lot of sessions, and people who have cats, their cats are there, and they tend to make an appearance. So yeah, I find their presence very valuable. So
Yeah,
well, so let's say anything else that you feel like you'd like to share. Would you recommend this to other people?
definitely. Yeah. Um, yeah, I just definitely, I'm not sure what else to say about it. Yeah, I'm really enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it. And I also, all of the preparation that you recommend to do ahead of time and the aftercare and everything, I took care to follow those too. And I'm really glad that I did that. I think that it kind of just helped as a whole, and it felt like it made it more effective. And it, uh, yeah, I don't know if it gave me a nice kind of, it was good preparation, I suppose. Like it gets your mind in the right place and everything. So I was appreciative of all that.
Okay.
And yeah, I want to do it again. So
Well, great, great. That's good to know. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for sharing this with us.